So here we go, Brian.
Right.
20 years later,
Amazing, isn't it?
all I look at is the company. I look at the kids and see the same kind of age. And it's
Yeah.
been an amazing journey, and
Yeah.
I think we've continued to make history, and we've certainly built something was both of ours commitment to keep a legacy and create a legacy. And I think that when a couple of months ago, when the adage national asset being referred to as Enviroserve, I think we've accomplished that goal of a legacy for the UAE, and from there I put together the plan to go green, which I remember it was a Thursday afternoon at the villa in Jumeirah.
Yeah, you came to see
Villa
me.
13.
Yeah.
Popped in there and you said, well, have a look at this. It was a Thursday afternoon, and on the Sunday you called me and said, I'm in. Went to Dubai Investment Park in those days, which was way out,
Yeah.
and was, well, this'll do. And who's to know, we would just stay there.
It's called Green Community in those days, even before it became DIP.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah. Sort of this little industrial area behind the villas, and who was to know we would stay there and expand to what we are before we moved to Dubai Industrial City. The opening and the launch with Habiba Al Marashi.
Yeah.
Pictures of that as well, of a very clean-looking refrigerant gas recovery and reclaim facility.
Well, the laws had just been passed mandating that companies weren't supposed to vent their gases any longer into the atmosphere because they were causing global warming. It's a natural development because we'd called the company Enviroserve rather than anything to do with gases because we saw the future of getting involved in the whole environmental activities.
Correct.
So this, as it turned out, was another, if you like, biblical moment of where do we go next? And there was nobody looking at mobile phones in the country then. So that's when we started doing that. And then again, you looked at how we could do it, what we need in terms of machinery and personnel, etc.
And of course, we got some funding from TRA to
Yeah,
start the
the
Envirophone
campaign,
campaign. 150,000 phones in 150 days.
Yeah. But we'd already started establishing a reputation. We won that award as SME, Lloyd's TSB, Small Business of the Year. That was 2007.
Yeah.
So already we were recognised. That was a very proud moment.
Very proud.
Yeah.
Really was. We just literally begun. We were making headway and starting to be noticed.
Yeah. There was that global recession.
Oh, goodness.
Which, affected a lot of companies, affected the UAE. Luckily, we weren't too badly affected by it already. We'd done our previous campaigns and they carried on. But again, there's some of our customers who have been giving us stuff to recycle and suddenly said, oh, can you give us any money for this? People's attitudes started to change. They started to realize that waste had a value.
2009, yeah. And luckily, the e-waste had started.
Yeah.
And so one of the big things was clearing out warehouses. And, it was visible that volumes were just going up of these laptops and these motherboards and bits and pieces, just people clearing out warehouses so they could cut the lease and get the hell out.
Yeah,
I remember phoning 3 or 4 clients, number dead, gone. So that e-waste handler award was part of that transition that we're growing, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely the Small Business of the Year award was transformational. We went up to Bahrain. We started the school campaign. That must have been 2009, 8, 9, and then QTEL.
Yeah.
Remember that well. And then Wataniya in Kuwait.
Wataniya
in Kuwait. So those were the 3, and we were going national. We were going international.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, we're going big there. Big organizations that have no sustainability. There was no sustainability directors. There was no CSR. I think CSR kicked in about 2014, 2015.
I think really until they started realizing how much damage bad environmental practices were doing to this country, and that if they didn't do something about it soon, they would have got over the tipping point, and it would have been permanent damage.
Yeah.
With all the landfills and the amount of hazardous materials being thrown away and damaging the environment, the health of the people. And then they started to sit up and say, okay, we need to do something about it then. And we were in the forefront of that transition. In 2010, we were getting heavily into e-waste. But then we started looking at what we now call the specialised waste.
The
All the other
specialized
goods
waste.
that were being thrown away or counterfeit or expired.
Rwanda came up through a neighbor of us at FG8, and he was starting a business in Rwanda and told me about this African Union conference that was happening at the Atlantis Hotel in the Palm. And they had got the funding to build an e-waste recycling facility, a bit bigger than a smash and bash, as you know. The funding had gone towards that, built the building. Off I went into 2017, and we signed up with the permanent secretary, but it was all legal. And that was the beautiful thing about Rwanda, was everything was above board. We had to be tendered in the newspaper for 90 days, and anybody interested, expression of interest in this, and then your RFPs and RFQs. So it was all genuinely lovely, above board.
Yeah.
And we got the contract. And then Rwanda really kicked off. And it was also Dad's passing in 2016. So we're sitting around in Cape Town, and I said to Graham and Alan, well, what are you guys doing now? I'm the youngest of them by a long way. Well, I said, why don't you start collecting e-waste? Typical entrepreneurial pioneering. Yeah, okay, all right. So we started collecting e-waste in Zimbabwe and South Africa.
Well, have you thought about expanding? Because this market really is going to explode in the next few years. So we put our heads together with him and then came up with a plan that ended up in TRH. But you're more involved than I was at the time.
We're going to have to transition a little bit.
Yeah.
We now had 3 warehouses. Yeah. Okay. And so we were and the model wasn't correct for what the expansion processes were and what the opportunity was. So that all just aligned itself. Off I went up to Switzerland. We won the Middle East e-waste recycling award twice in a row. Yeah. And that really, of course, these things never bring in business.
No, but it cemented our reputation as the go-to company and showed that we were doing things properly, and we were doing it to international standards. Yeah. Actually, had the very soft opening of the plant in 2018. We first started using stuff, but 2019 was the official launch, the great day when
4 years ago. 5 years ago. 5 years ago. 5 years ago. 5 years ago this month.
Yeah.
5 years ago this month, on the 20th of March, we went all out. Yeah.
Because 2020, I mean, not long after we had the official opening, the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And then that was horrible because everybody closed their warehouses for 6 months. There was just no feedstock coming from anything. Restaurants, shops, businesses were closing down, as they were all over the world. Right? Every day you'd hear about a new closure. But we had a battle through. We aim at the companies that want to do things properly, that want to recycle to international standards. And I think that particular tide has really turned over the last couple of years, and we're recognised for it.
Correct. And I think it's the right decision to build what we build to what size we built it.
As the market has changed, as the market evolved, you in particular have always come back and said, look, we need to do things a bit differently now because of this shift away from cost, for example, into saving the planet, into the environment.
Yeah, we've pretty much stayed close to that mission and vision that we created back in 2004.
Yeah.
We've altered it just by putting a dot here and a capital and adding an and or something.
And we are still the only privately owned national champion of recycling in the region of any scale. And the only one that's gone international as well, showing off that you can do things from the UAE, you can do them properly in the green sphere and successfully export the idea. So,
big advocate for the UAE. It's been good. When COP was announced here, I don't think people realised just what, especially in our industry, what transition it would be. We realised it. We understood the impact of this on society and on industry. And let's look at some of those dignitaries that have walked through our door over the years. We've had
when His Excellency Sultan Al Jaber, who was at that time nothing to do with COP28. He was the Minister of Industry and the head of ADNOC, I think.
He was the Minister of Industry and Advanced Technology.
And you showed him around on one Saturday afternoon in Ramadan, when he came all the way up from Abu Dhabi with his team. But The one thing I do still love, as I found the first time I walked in, every time somebody comes in for the first time, they always look around and just like His Excellency Sultan Al Jaber, wow,
Wow.
wow.
It is a wow factor.
I knew what you did, but I didn't realize it would look like this.
I said, I'm about to start a business. And any ideas or any thoughts or suggestions? And this is another meeting. And there was a case of, good luck, mate. Right? Good luck with you. Have a coffee and hope it all goes well.
Mm.
And I thought, once everything does come right and we start doing something and it does create an image, I'd like to do what you do, and that is train, give experience, give your experience to others that are starting that. And we did in 2017 that Entrepreneur of the Year Award.
The Year Award, yeah.
3 categories, the 3 winners we announced later on. That was excellent. I mean, CNN was a big one. Then BBC, we had the BBC channel in quite good style or what have you. We've had a number of media through the company. We've always had the local and international now focusing on us, the latest being Copper and the United Nations.
It's all come together really well under your direction, and I think we've now, could we strengthen it more? Probably. Need to add a couple of people onto it, but would we replace any of the ones we've got now? No, I think we've got a great team going forward. And when the promises weren't kept, we still had to adjust to the realities of the current situation as it was, and try and make it work as best we could. And that's what entrepreneurs do. And if they do it well, they'll succeed. But overall, the fact that we're still here and still talking. So thank you.
You're welcome, sir.